My name is Hannah Carter, and I'm 32 years old. 3 days ago, I sat in a lawyer's office, read a single piece of paper, and laughed so hard the attorney put down his pen and asked if I needed a glass of water. My parents hadn't spoken to me in 2 years, not a birthday card, not a single text. Then suddenly their lawyer sent me one document, 1 page, asking for my signature to sell my grandfather's lake house, the only place in the world that ever felt like home. That document was supposed to take something from me, but instead, it gave me the one thing my family never had, proof that someone believed I was worth protecting. I grew up outside Knoxville, Tennessee, in a small town where everyone waved and everyone knew your business, and from the outside, my family looked perfect. My father, Robert Carter, was respected, my mother Linda Carter was admired, and my younger sister Emily Carter was always the favorite, always the priority, while I was the strong one, the one who didn't need much, the one who could be overlooked without consequence. Emily got opportunities, attention, and support, while I learned to manage on my own, working through school, paying for everything myself, believing that independence meant strength until I realized it really meant I was easy to ignore. Even at my college graduation, the moment I had worked for entirely on my own, my parents didn't show up because my sister needed help moving, and I walked across that stage alone, holding on to the one call that mattered. From my grandfather George Carter, the only person who ever made me feel seen, who told me he was proud of me and said something I didn't understand at the time, I already took care of it. Years later, after I married my husband Ethan Brooks, things only got worse. My parents dismissed him, called him a downgrade, and when I refused to keep financially supporting my sister, they turned on me completely, telling relatives I was mentally unstable, rewriting my story to make themselves look better, and that Christmas, standing in a room full of family while they quietly humiliated me, was the moment I walked away for good. 2 years passed in silence, painful at first but eventually peaceful, until the letter arrived, cold or formal, asking me to give up the lake house as if I had no real claim to it. But what they didn't know was that my grandfather had already made sure I did, because when I finally opened the envelope he had left me years ago, I found a legally binding trust naming me as the sole beneficiary of the lake house along with a handwritten note explaining that he knew how I was treated and wanted to protect me. And the next day, when I walked into that lawyer's office and saw my father sitting there expecting me to sign, I placed those documents on the table and watched. Everything changed as the truth came out. The house had never been his to sell, it had always been mine, and in that moment, after years of being overlooked, dismissed, and made to feel like I didn't matter, I finally had undeniable proof that someone in my family had seen me clearly and decided I was worth everything. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you will be the ones who hurt you the most, but that doesn't mean you are powerless. You don't need to beg for respect or prove your worth to people who refuse to see it. The real power comes from knowing your value, standing your ground, and letting truth speak for itself. Revenge isn't always loud or destructive, sometimes it's quiet, dignified, and undeniable. In the end, karma doesn't need your help, it just needs time.